And welcome back, guys, to another episode of Katawa Shoujo. In the last part, we had fun in a bathtub. And now we're scared for exams, because they're like a day away. Excuse me. But anyway, I guess we'll just get started with this. The lunchtime bell brings a sigh of relief from the entire class, Muto being no exception. I get the feeling he must prefer the more laid-back atmosphere of his normal classes to the frantic pace of exam preparations we're subjected to right now. Hee-chan! Help me! I lower my eyelids to a half-mast, making clear my intention of doing quite the opposite. Help me, help me, help me! Not going well? Hee-chan's going to be fine, but I think I might die. Am I going to die, Hee-chan? Will you let me die for all this work? How maudlin, how maudlin. Given that she's neither the brightest student in the class nor the most diligent, it isn't a great surprise that she's finding it hard to cope with the workload. Sorry, Misha, but I've got my own work to do. I thought you and Shizune would be studying together over the long weekend, anyway. Studying is too boring to waste a holiday on, Hee-chan. Shopping together was much more fun, wasn't it, Hee-chan? It's only now that I realize Shizune's been looking over to us, and that Misha's arms have been moving likely all this time. I must be really zoned out to not have noticed. Or you're getting used to it. It's one of those things where, like, something that is just part of your surroundings becomes so like ingrained in you that you don't realize that, yeah, no, this girl, she signs everything you say because it keeps her friend in the loop. What is it with girls and shopping anyway? Even Lily and Hanako have dragged me out with them a couple of times. But you went anyway, so it's so rare to see a guy that likes going shopping. Well, my role would probably be best described as pack mule. I can't say I share your enthusiasm about the experience. Back to the exams. You studied after you got back from the day off, didn't you, Shizune? Of course, Hee-chan. It's only sensible to study in the days before. Ugh. Misha makes a sound vaguely similar to a dying cow as she realizes her folly and ceremoniously flops onto her desk, betrayed even by her best friend. Judging from Shizune's quite frustrated look at Misha, she's probably told her to study as she did. Don't worry, you can still gain some grades if you start studying now. Maybe. Misha does not seem overly amused. It seems the bubbly balloon of everlasting cheerfulness has been cruelly popped. Shizune's signs goes unnoticed by the moping Misha, earning her a quick poke in the shoulder. It takes barely a moment for Misha to get back into form. Oh, so what did you do over the weekend, Hee-chan? Just took a trip up north with Lily and Hanako. It was pretty nice. I see both of them narrowing their eyes at me, their mind surely in the gutter. The fact that their suspicions are founded makes the situation all the more awkward. We just studied and went sightseeing. There's nothing more to it. After such a flagrant lie, I realized that it may not have been the best step, considering Shizune's connection and her total lack of restraint when it comes to questioning someone she suspects of telling untruths. I really have no idea how she's going to take it, but she'll find out eventually anyway. It isn't as if it's really her business whom I date, in any case. And yes, Lily and I are going out now. While Misha receives the news with an enthusiastic smile, Shizune gives a look of mild surprise, somewhat masked by her cool demeanor. Whoever you date is your business. I hope you two go well together. I think Shizune actually liked us. Oh no, what have we done? Misha gives a look that says this in the most quarter I could possibly receive on the matter. It's all I wanted, really. After she says this, though, Shizune begins to sign something else, then stops herself and shakes her head at Misha to prevent her from translating. Normally, I'd think this strange enough, but the awkwardly casual wave Shizune gives before walking off with Misha in tow adds to my confusion. Shizune hardly the kind of person to pull a punch or communicate without forethought. I shrug my shoulders at the duo's odd behavior and look towards Hanako's desk, but see that her chair is empty. She was definitely here before, so I guess she just didn't feel like waiting. I'll go grab some food alone, then. See, we have to realize that they're like cousins, right? So the scary thing is Shizune may know something that we don't, right? And this is the biggest thing that I feared is whatever happened back in Scotland is going to affect Lily here. This is what I'm saying is like she's the whole idea is she's able to choose all these things. You know, she's able to choose her friend with Hanako. She has some semblance of independence. But what's the thing that could be taken away from her? Is all of her independence is what could be taken away from her. So, you know, she can't love us anymore. She has to go do something for the family, and that's where the future comes in. That's where in like the conflict I really feel of this arc will go. Like, there's no other possible situation that I can think of. Unless one of us just dies, you know? Like, and I've already experienced Hisao's death once. I don't particularly want to kill him again. If I can avoid it. So, yeah. Let's try to keep the foreshadowing to a minimum on my part. Or speculation. Not really foreshadowing. More like speculation on my part. Walking down the hallway to the unused room that's become a second home to three students in particular, I mournfully look down at the plastic-wrapped salad roll and juice box in my hand. The cafeteria foods really is unappetizing. Maybe I'll consider this my penance for my recent indiscretions. Opening the door, I notice one less quiet figure than I expected. Oh, Hanako isn't there. Interesting. It's strange. Despite having known Lily for months, I can't help thinking back to the very first time I opened this door and saw her silently sitting in the sunlight. Just as she did then, she slowly opens her eyes, unmoving as they are, and calmly addresses me. Good morning, Hisao. It's afternoon, I think. Has Hanako been around? She's skittered out of class without me even noticing. Lily cradles her cheek thoughtfully as I take a seat, my bag taking its place against the closest leg of the table, and my unsatisfying meal neatly set out in front of me. She did appear for a time. She said she had to study for the upcoming exams and left for the library. We find ourselves not entirely believing her words. Well, at least her intentions are in the right place. She is sweet, but she needn't go this far to let us have our space. I might talk to her about it sometime. Probably for the best. For a while, we quietly eat our meals, Lily elegantly nibbling on her sandwiches and sipping her tea as I eat what tastes like a garden sandwich in a dry dough. The atmosphere feels slightly strained, neither of us knowing quite what to say to each other now that our small talk has dried up. Please don't do it again. Please don't do it again in this room. I know I shouldn't say things like that out loud because they'll inevitably come true if I'm not careful. But, like, this is neither the time nor the place. The atmosphere feels slightly strained, neither of us knowing quite what to say to each other now that our small talk has dried up. Eventually, we both finish our food with no conversation forthcoming for quite some time. Eventually, though, Lily's soft voice breaks the silence. A lot happened back there, didn't it? Again, silence. With both of our minds on the same topic, though, I think I have my feelings on that sorted out. I know everything happened in kind of a hurry, but I don't regret anything that happened in Hokkaido. Not one thing. Hisao? Slightly tense, I take her hands in mine, half to feel her, half to settle my own nerves. I stand by my words back there, Lily. I love you, and I won't leave you. I only wish for you to think the same. She silently reflects for a long time, which feels like an eternity. Her reverie comes to an end as she takes one hand from mine, placing it over them as she leans her body forward and stands out of her chair. After a moment's hesitation, her face slightly pensive, her lips meet mine for a brief moment. My mind feels as if it briefly stopped at that moment, barely registering Lily sitting back in her chair and smiling back at me, with ever so slightly reddened cheeks. Hearing that makes me very happy, Hisao. I would be glad to stay with you. Maybe it would be good to slow things down a bit compared to before. We still have school, after all, and our exams. She gives a mischievous giggle, which proves to be contagious. That might be a good idea indeed. Do you think you'll fare well in your exams? It's only one day until they arrive, as you say. I probably should have studied more, but I think I've got a good enough head to manage. That said, I'd had to bat off Misha and Suzune. Is your class worried about the exam as mine? She lets out an exasperated sigh, all but confirming it. I'm thankful for the atmosphere becoming a bit lighter. I think so. I've already been asked for help by 2 of my classmates, and they'll no doubt be more. Think of it as your first training in being a teacher, maybe. That's probably a good way to think of it. On that note, how are you faring in your English studies? I remember it was far from your strongest subject, and the few sentences you memorized to speak to my mother aren't likely to help. Damn, right on the mark. You got me. If you don't mind, would you be able to possibly help me in that regard? Please? It would be my pleasure to help you, Hisao, but in exchange... She lowers her eyebrows at me, her cocktish nature tentatively coming to the fore. No problem at all. You'd probably be better off with some help in your studies, though. She beams a smile at me, over one of girlish victory that nearly makes me blush. I get the feeling she's aware of how to use her face to twist my judgment, so I should probably be more on guard. Here and now, though, a study group seems like an expedient way for both of us to shore up our more lacking skills. The school bell rings out, reminding us that time isn't going to stand still. Huh, lunchtime over already. It sure is easy to lose track of time here. This room, so far from the other clubs and activities, not much sound can reach us. That's probably most of the reason why. Now, remember how I was talking about earlier? You shouldn't say stuff like that, because that would imply that things could go on in this room and no one could hear it. Is that what she's implying? Is that what we're supposed to take from this? Are we doing this again? Teenagers, man. Gosh. Though to be fair, I used to be like that too, so... I probably still am, in some instances as well. Really just depends. A place far from all the others, alone with just one person whom she loves. As Lily stands and collects her bag and cane, my thoughts are cast back to the time we spent in Hokkaido. Before I go, Akira and I are having a homecoming party in my room tomorrow. Will you be able to come? And back again. My schedule is free, so I should be able to make enough room in my study time to make it. Good to hear, Hisao. For what it's worth, I'm glad you're back from Scotland. Once exams are over, we should have some more time to ourselves. Holidays start soon after, too. We can start the holidays with Tanabata then, just as we promised at the school festival. She brings her hand to her cheek and laughs slightly nervously, recalling the event as I slightly thank myself for managing to remember. It seems odd to see her reaction in such her react in such a way, though it's not like I never saw her embarrassed before. I'd better be going. Farewell, Isao. Bye. Whether it's out of habit or just a stubborn desire for one small fragment of normality, I hold my hand up in farewell just as I always do. At least I'm consciously aware that I'm doing it now. I think I'm beginning to see a bigger picture than I ever have before, not only with Lily, but also my life ahead. The chains of my past are finally breaking. Ah. Yeah, this is too good to be true. It's not going to be daijoubu. Oh god. Seeing this place makes me think of a certain someone, and we haven't seen him for a while. Oh no. Walking up to the now slightly more familiar corridor of the girls' dormitory. Okay, this is the girls' dormitory. Right. The guys' one has, like, stuff at the end of the hallway. I have to remember that. There is a slight difference in these hallways. I was like, actually, yeah, whatever happened to Kenji? We didn't give in to whatever his weird conspiracy theories were, and it seemed like it was a red herring. Maybe it wasn't a red herring, and by not paying attention to them, I saved myself from unintentional woe. But regardless, walking up to the now slightly more familiar corridor of the girls' dormitory, I can hear the faint sounds of laughter coming from up ahead. It doesn't take long to identify the source as Lily's room, though the deep timbre of the female voice unmistakably belongs not to her, but to her sister. I rap my knuckles on the door with the usual 3 little taps, my hand barely retreating as the door swings open. Hey, Hasao! Hey, hello, Lily. Hanako? Hanako looks up tentatively as her hands buried in her oversized pink nightgown. From her side, Lily turns sideways towards the direction of my voice and smiles. It would be a flagrant lie to say I dislike the sight of her in those pajamas. I catch Akira giving me a sidelong look with a knowing grin, to which I reply with a sharp glare. She's like, yeah, you check it out, my sister. And I'm just like, yeah, I fucking am. I love that shit. It's like my favorite thing. She takes the hint, shrugs, and walks back to the low table in the center of the room. As I go to join her, Lily gives me a nod of greeting and starts pouring me a cup of tea. It's nice to see you again, Hanako. You've been getting around recently. Lily wears a look of concentration as the light brown liquid, carefully measured by her finger, as always, flows into the teapot into the cup. It seems Hanako has taken up helping one of the people in your class with the newspaper club. Naomi, I think. Hanako gives an affirmative nod. Even after spending about 2 months in the class, I still have trouble remembering the names of those students I rarely talk with. It takes me a few mental contortions to connect the name with a face, but I eventually remember the girl that sits beside Hanako at the back of the class. Naomi Inoue. A fairly average-looking girl, except for her bleach blonde hair. Given her upbeat and straightforward personality, Naomi may have seen an opening to poach Hanako for her club when she inquired about joining one. Either way, it's nice to see Hanako broadening her horizons. When I first met her, the idea of her joining a club with anyone but Lily would have seemed utterly laughable. That's explained how busy you've been. Enjoying it? It's really interesting. As always, Hanako's far Far from being talkative, some things never change, and it seems that Hanako's personality is one of them. She'll likely always be one to shy away from being overly social. Warned by the sound of the crockery against the table as Lily gently places my drink in front of me, I thank her and take a long sip. Hanako and Lily are attending to their own, and Akira is quaffing a mug of strong-smelling black coffee. You're lucky. You're a lucky bastard, Hassel. Huh? I can't help but grimacing at her teasing smile, still visible around the edges of the mug pressed to her lips. Seeing my sister in her pajamas. There's a lot of men out there who'd like to be where you are. I've seen a lot more than that of her. Not that I'd admit it. Akira? Hey, I'm just a teasing. You guys hate me. She leans over to me as much as she can, whispering with a sly grin written on her face. And Hanako too, you perv. Hey, it was her idea. We both look over to her, her face turned to the ground and her hands fidgeting in the lap of her nightgown. If it's Hasao, I don't mind. This could be bad. I know Hanako's altogether too innocent to bother reading too much into such a thing, but the expression Akira directs at me is positively stormy. Look at her face over there. Jesus. Akira, please. It seems Lily can sense Akira's sudden change in aura just as well as I, even without seeing it for herself. Akira slowly looks away from me, like an attack dog leashed by its owner in the nick of time. I breathe a sigh of relief. I guess we'll continue a little bit more of this in the next part, so take care, guys, and stay frosty.